12th. Where has summer gone? Summer disappeared. I can't believe it is already over and we're into September, even though summer doesn't officially end yet. I think it's the 21st. We have a amazing guest tonight. Somebody who I I actually met him when I first started to learn how to channel, and I considered him one of the best teachers I ever met. Now, after I guess it's been a couple of years that I've known Mr. Lewicki, I consider him a very good friend. So, without further ado, I'm just going to click the button and invite Mr. Ken Lewicki. How are you, sir?
Hey everybody, thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome. I'm so glad you could be here. I am doing fabulous. Today's a great day. And thank you
Awesome.
so much for having me on your show, Kevin.
Hey, you're welcome. If my memory serves me correct, my first ever interview that I ever did way back when I used to call these things Wednesday night sessions or Sunday night sessions, whatever it was, I
Yeah.
interviewed you.
Yeah.
Um, it seems like ages ago.
Yeah.
Literally, to me, it seems like 10 years ago. And really, it was only a year ago, a year and a half ago, maybe. I'd have to go
Right.
back and look. I could go back on YouTube because that um, particular episode got a whole bunch of views. So I am honored that you agreed to come on. And as a lot of people know, Ken and I do a bunch of things together already. We do the Ask Ken show, where you, the audience, get to ask Ken's all kinds of questions about spirituality. Um, I helped Ken out when he was doing his
Spirituality
Spirituality is Fun Expo. I was with him when he did his event in downtown Calgary with Kamel. That was just the most magical evening I can remember in a long time. So, fair, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Complete, complete exposure. That's not the word I want. I have known Ken and I consider Ken a very good friend. So it's going to be two friends talking about
Yeah.
spirituality and about his journey and how he got to where he is. For those who don't know, and there's will be some people listening or watching who don't know who Ken Lewicki is. So let's start at the beginning, Ken. Who are you? How did you get to where you are? Let's start at the very beginning.
Yeah, good question, Kevin. So my name's Ken Lewicki of channelinginc.com. That's the name of my company. You're welcome to go visit my website, channelinginc.com. And this is what I do full time for a living. So I teach people how to channel. I have full certification programs and I do one-on-one sessions. And it's all about teaching people spirituality and channeling in a good, fun way. And basically in 2004 is when I had my spiritual awakening. That's when everything just like completely changed for me. I was growing up, I had a really rough childhood. I was a lot into drinking and drugs, trying to like stuff all the pain and suffering and all the inner turmoil that I was having inside. And it was pretty bad. I went into like deep depression. I was almost suicidal. Like it was bad. And my drinking and alcoholism got worse and worse and worse. And then in 2004, I had a major like um, incident with the law, and then I got down on my knees and I basically prayed and begged for help to help me with my alcohol addiction. And ever since that point, I've been 100% sober. So it's been since 2004. I haven't touched any drugs, any alcohol, nothing, absolutely at all. I had to work for it. It wasn't easy. I had to really bust my butt. And, I checked myself into a relapse prevention program and Alcoholics Anonymous. I've done the steps, the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous over like half a dozen times and went through all the literature, went to the program, the AA meetings, sponsors, on and on and on. And then, of course, after I started giving back and sponsoring people in addictions and also addiction houses and men's houses, recovery houses, things like that, and had a whole bunch of sponsees. And while I was doing all that, plus raising my daughter full time as a single parent, I was searching for, as they call in the Alcoholics Anonymous program, searching for like a higher power. And that really started me on my journey. And then from there,
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you, Ken, because
yeah.
I want to go back a little bit. Were you a religious person prior? Like, did you have any kind of spiritual experiences prior to that 2004.
So I'll tell you how my upbringing was.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was, I don't know, maybe like 8 years old or 12 years old or something like that, like pretty young. And I said to my mom, one time, I said, so mom, like, I'm just curious because I keep hearing people talk about, and I'm like, who's this Jesus person that people keep talking about? She's like, don't you dare ever say that word in this house ever again. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just,
Oh
like, I heard
my.
people talk about this Jesus person, and I'm just wondering if you, and I don't care, I don't ever want to hear it again. So she just snuffed that. There was no talk of religion, spirituality, any kind of anything like that to do with that stuff. In my household growing up, it was all about very, like you would be made fun of with that stuff. It was snuffed out. You weren't allowed to talk about it. And even when I was a little child, I remember I was, they would see me out playing in the yard or something, and I'd be talking, and and they'd be like, "Oh, that's just Ken talking to his imaginary friend."
Yeah, yeah.
And now looking back and checking in too, because I'm a channeler, right? So I can check back. I was like, no, actually, I was channeling my spirit guides back then, and
Oh
of
yeah.
course, through society and my parents and my brother and all that, that was not acceptable. So that was snuffed out of me, and ever since then, I was a hardcore atheist agnostic. If it can't see it,
Oh
it's not
really?
real. It must be. And what's really cool now is like we actually have technology that can capture spirit guides and spirits and all that on camera. You might have seen them on those ghost hunter shows. So they are
Yes.
real. They've always been real. They've always been there. People have been channeling for thousands of years. It's always been real. And so when I sobered up in 2004 and I started, awakening my spirituality, I did join eventually because I went and like checked out different like religions like Buddhism,
Because now
Muslim.
you're trying to find your higher power that you didn't have as a child because that was all, no, you're not allowed to have that.
Right, right. And then I did eventually settle on Christianity, and I wasn't just like a like a regular church member. I was like on the leadership team. So I went hardcore into that. I was in the leadership team for 8 years, going to church 4, 5, 6 times a week,
Oh
um,
wow.
going to door to door recruiting people in the parade, and very active on the music team and the leadership team and all that stuff. So I was very, very involved in the church, indoctrinated in the church, and all that. And even once in a while, I would like. I remember about 5 years in, I took this one mediumship course, and it was phenomenal. Like I loved it, and I wasn't good at it. Like I totally sucked, but I was just like in awe of the people that were there and what they were able to do, and I knew what I was experiencing was real. But then I went back to the church. I told my pastors, and they were like, "No, no, don't do that. You're going to open up yourself to something bad and demonic, and that's evil
Goodness.
and blasphemy and all this other stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess." And I just believed what they had to say, so I stopped doing that. But in the back of my mind, this lady who has been doing it for like 60 years or something like that. I knew that, like, I don't think so. I think she's of the light, and I think she's fine and all that. So then after I left the church, after 8 years of being in the church, I left the church, and then I started delving into this stuff more, but always working in the light, making sure that's very important. And that's when I really started my spiritual journey, and enhancing my channeling abilities and my spiritual abilities.
And it's neat. I really like the way you worded your verbiage there because you left the church and then started your spiritual journey. And I had the exact opposite upbringing as you. I literally was raised in the Catholic Church. Mom, we always used to bug mom if she was male. We would never have been born because she would become a priest and probably become a pope, the first Canadian pope ever, I might add. Um, that was the joke until the day she passed away at 95 years old. So I had the exact opposite, but I always say there's religion and then there's spirituality, two separate things.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to make something very clear. Like, I am not against religion. I'm really not.
Yes.
Like, if you take all the major religions in the world and you extract like the good stuff out of it, there's a lot of good that's taught in a lot of religions.
Yes.
There really is, and there's so much of it. The difference is with spirituality. for me anyways, is that I want to know what's actually really going on out there. I want to figure out like what's going on spiritually around me, what kind of souls are around me, what kind of spirits are around me. Is there anything else out there? And not just follow something that was written 2,000 years ago. Back then, 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago, it might have been appropriate for that age and era. However, we've evolved as a species. We have, and we are
Yes.
different now, and we can access more things now than we ever have been. So what about updating to the now? Like what's going on now, and how can we access it now? And even those prophets that wrote the Bible, the Quran, or whatever it is, they were channeling.
Well, yeah.
They were channeling. That's how it was written. So they actually channeled and wrote that into text and then passed it on. And so there's nothing new about what I teach people to do. Like we've been doing this for thousands of years. So let's
Yes.
take what we all do naturally of all the 7+ billion people on this planet. We all do this. Let's just learn how we actually know what we're doing so we can actually embrace it and welcome it and take it to whole new heights and really start to rock spirituality and channeling and all that
And
spiritual
make the
stuff.
world a whole lot better place, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took you way off topic
But
there.
but really, actually, I just want to elaborate on that because, like, where's the link? How is channeling going to make the world a better place? And that's a really good question because I look at it this way: if everyone was channeling and following their spirit guides, even just a little bit, imagine how much better this world can be.
Oh my goodness.
And that's why I do what I do. It really is. That's why I'm a trainer of channeling. I teach people to be their own psychic, to learn how to access their guides and learn how to follow their soul's purpose of why they're really meant to be here. And by doing this over and over and over many years and thousands of people, if not tens of thousands over every continent in the world, like that's how we're going to make this world a better place. And if you think about it, the way that our parents and grandparents are doing things, it's not working for us.
No.
We need to do things differently. As a
Well,
species, we need to do something. And by accessing our spirit guides, they only always want your highest and greatest good. And by learning how to access your spirit guides and getting actually very detailed, specific, practical information on how they want to guide you, then you can really fulfill what you're meant to do at this lifetime.
definitely. Definitely. Wow, I got goosebumps. Talk about taking a topic and going woo. So we're back to 2004, and actually, we'll know because 2004 when you got sober, then you spent how many years in the church?
Yeah, so it was probably around 2008, 2009, 2010 is when things started to really shift towards
Okay.
spirituality and then drifting away from that. So that's when it really started to take off.
And then I can remember this story vividly of you channeling your dad. Now, when did your dad pass away?
So yeah, good question. So my dad passed away in 2001, and in 2004 he actually became my spirit guide. And even while I was going to the church, I was channeling him. It didn't start off so. For those of you watching out there, I wasn't one of those people that just naturally had these gifts and could all talk. I had to work really hard at it. And so what I would do is I would sit really quietly on a couch, for example, and I would just sit there in complete silence and try to quiet my mind. And then after many, many months and years, I would feel like this presence in the room. And then many, many, many months later, sometimes I would feel that presence move. And then many, many, many months later, sometimes I would feel that presence behind me. And then after many, many months, and by the time it's years, by now it's years now, I realized that was my deceased father. And then many, many months later, I would be able to get a word or two in, like understand a word or two here and there. And then many, many months later, I would be able to eventually get like a sentence or two. And then after many months later, I would eventually be able to have full-blown conversations with my deceased father. And he actually taught me how to channel so I could teach others how to channel. And the reason why I keep saying many, many, many months later and many, many years later is it didn't just happen all at once. I had to work really hard at it. And during those early years, I never had anyone to teach me or show me how to do all this. So there was times when other things spiritual would be affecting me and they would be influencing me, sometimes in a negative way. And there was times when I was like, am I making this up? Am I going crazy? I'm hearing these voices and I'm seeing things and all this other stuff. And I was like, do I need like, am I going psychotic? Am I losing my mind? And I felt like depression. And sometimes it was so bad where I literally felt like suicidal. Like, it was that bad. It really, really was. Those were what I call like the dark days. But what I did is I was like, no, I need to figure this out, and I need to. So I started developing tools on how to empower myself, and now I pass those tools on to my students so that they know how to make sure that who they're channeling is of the light. And if something, you don't go out looking for it, but if something not of the light comes across your path, I'll teach you the tools and the techniques on how to make sure that you're safe, you're protected, you're working in the light, and nothing, you set boundaries with anything and everything that is not of the light. And it's very powerful tools. But that wasn't easy. That took like 10 to 15 years for me to figure out all on my own. And now I pass that gift on to my students.
Which is awesome. Very awesome. Um, so when you first began, you said you took a channeling course. It wasn't like a course where that you offer where they teach you to channel, was it? Or was it
It was a mediumship course.
a mediumship? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, mediumship. So I I remember the one lady I was partnered up with. She was phenomenal, and she was tuning into my grandpa. Well, first my dad at that time. Yeah, so my grandpa, my dad was busy. He didn't want to talk, but my grandpa was there. He came in, and she got amazing messages for me. And I was just watching this lady, and like I was like, how are you doing this? Like, I was like just
How do
blown
you know
away.
this stuff?
Yeah, and so now I know how to do this, and I teach my students how to do this, and at really, really, really high advanced levels. But other than that, no, it was all self-taught. I figured everything out. Everything that you see in my channeling curriculum, 50 plus page manuals, has all been developed from scratch, and it's probably the most comprehensive like channeling curriculum you can get anywhere in the world. So
Now,
it's very advanced, and even with all three of my workshops, it's maybe only 1 to 2% of what I know about channeling.
what? Where did that? Um, where did the switch go off? Where you went? Oh, I get it. I need to teach others how to do this. Where was that transition? How did that transition happen?
That's a great question. So when I was in IT for 11 years, and then I really liked it because I was able to travel all around North America doing installations of automation equipment and stuff like that. So I was writing manuals on how to do it, procedures. I was when I'd fly down to different places in the United States or Canada or wherever, and I would teach the people how to install the automation equipment. And so in 2009, I was like, you know what? I want to do this full time for a living. I want to be like I'm making an impact with helping people with their computer systems, but it's only like this much. I want to make a major impact in people's lives. So in 2009, I switched careers. I went back to school. I took my life skills coaching program, and I became a certified life skills coach. It was a 9 month intensive program where we'd meet in person every day, 5 days a week for 6 hours a day, every single day. And then after I graduated from that, the college invited me to come back and teach the next group of coaches to become coaches. And then what I was doing is, and then I ended up working for the government. And while I was raising my daughter full time as a single father and working a full time day job, what was I doing? I was developing healing modalities. I have stacks and stacks of certificates and diplomas and trainings and all that from some of the top trainers in the world. So I was doing that and building my clientele and developing my own curriculum and teaching and working on different modalities like healing modalities and all that, and working through that, having clients. And so it wasn't like a one day, all of a sudden I went from here to here. It was
Right.
like I'm working for the government teaching, and I'm honing because I'm teaching personal development skills through the government. And in the evening, I'm like, you know what? What do I really want to teach? I want to teach people spirituality. I want to teach people channeling. So that's when I started developing my own channeling
So
curriculum,
when you're talking about your clientele,
introductory classes and stuff, and 2 hour classes. Sorry,
when
go
you're
ahead.
talking about your clientele, you're building up your clientele. That was people you were teaching how to channel
Yeah.
at that point.
So clients to do with healing sessions,
Okay.
um, training sessions, one-on-one, and then I would do workshops. I would do collaborative workshops with other teachers where we
Oh, very cool.
co-facilitate and like kind of like what the event that we're going to be doing. Like I would be doing a lot of collaborative stuff to build up my clientele, build up my following, And then eventually it got to a point where my following was growing so big that I was like, so this was probably about 6 years ago or so that I decided, you know what, I'm going to go online because I have people all over the world reaching out to me wanting to learn this, but it's not viable for them to fly in and get a hotel for a weekend workshop when we
And
could just teach it
when you can
online.
go on Zoom for
And
pennies.
our spirit guides are in the astral realm anyway, so it doesn't matter where they are in the world. We just need to tune into them,
Exactly.
and we need a communication technology, which we have.
Yes.
So then it just really exploded after that because now, like I literally, like I said at the beginning, I teach people from every continent in the world. So yeah, like you have to remember, like I'm not one of those people that like to just sit around and watch TV every single night. Like I know that's fine for some people, but I keep thinking and asking my soul and myself, what is my long-term goal, my purpose? What am I really here for? Why have I chosen to incarnate? And I do take my students through several exercises to figure this out for themselves, to help them find why they're meant to be, like what there's the reason their soul chose to incarnate. And so I figured that out really early on, and I made a commitment to myself. Nothing is going to take me off this path. And so even while I was, working a government job, raising my daughter full time, taking her to soccer practice, teaching her, like coaching her soccer team, and all the other commitments of being a single father and a parent, I was still developing my curriculum, building my clientele, building up my audience so I can do what I'm really called to do. And now I was able to quit my government job and do this full time, which is what I do. And I've been doing this for many, many, many years, and I love it.
When did you actually go full time?
Oh, like several years ago. I don't remember the exact date, but
Okay.
I transitioned to a part-time job to just make sure that everything is going to be
Yeah.
fine. So anyone watching out there, please don't quit your job.
Right, that's I was
Make
being very careful there, weren't we?
Yeah, and like make sure that what you're doing is strategic and viable, and you're building up your evening, your part time, your like your side business enough to where you know for sure that it's going to be stable. Because too many people jump the gun on that, and it's better to. And I notice I'm going above. I'm not just like let's go way above.
Yes.
So it's really important to be strategic about it, be responsible about it. I had a full time, like I have my daughter full time, so I had a lot on the line if I
Yeah.
messed it up, and I wanted to make sure I did it in a good, healthy way.
And I mean, I can attest that Ken is who he says he is. I like I said, I met Ken in 2020. Yeah, 2020 in July,
Yeah.
the very beginning of COVID, and had never heard of this guy before, not one bit. And all of a sudden, I'm going to take a weekend course learning to channel, and I was like, "Oh, what have I done?" Uh, and literally, I'm not kidding, and I'm not just saying it. People have heard me tell this story many times. 10 minutes into our first course, I knew for a fact Ken was who he says he is, and he has a unique ability to teach in a different way than most people have ever experienced. So, um, I'm I always say this. I'm a big fan of Ken, and I can just see his head getting bigger. And I'm like, no, but he is. He's very very good at what he does.
Something
Um,
I want to say though is like I really emphasize this for my students and my clients is please, please, please do your healing work while you're taking trainings,
yes,
while you're building your spiritual skills. And I, again, like Kevin said, I live what I teach. Like I literally go for healing sessions on a regular basis. And I did way back then and I still do now. So I wasn't that healthy in the early days. I wasn't. I had major drug addiction issues, but even after you sober up, it doesn't mean all your problems go away. I had a lot of other stuff I had to work through, a lot of demons, a lot of unresolved childhood traumas, issues, struggles, and I kept just working at it, doing my own self healing, working with other healers over especially in those early years, like tons and tons and tons of healing and all that. And so and even to this day, and I'm not going to stop. Like I,
I was
I
just going to say healing's never finished, is it?
I used to have this theory, like way back in the early days. I was like, you know what? One day when I'm fully healed, one day when I get there, one day when I'm fully healed. And then after about 10 years of me keep saying this over and over again, I kind of came to this realization. I'm like, what if the healing never ends?
Yeah.
And can I be okay with that? What if it's a lifelong thing? And don't get me wrong, I do believe in miracles. Like maybe someday I will be fully healed. I've never met anyone who's fully healed, but maybe I'll be one of them. I do believe in miracles, but in the meantime, I'm just going to keep working on myself. Keep working on myself. And
Exactly.
anytime I get triggered or upset about something or something bothers me, I'm going to take 100% ownership, and I'm going to say, okay, what is it inside of me that's surfacing from my subconscious to my consciousness that needs to be healed or cleared? And take 100% ownership over it and work on healing it. And I just do this over and over and over and over again. And don't ever, anybody who's struggling right now, don't kid yourself. They all add up over the years and the
Oh,
decades.
he
It all
froze,
helps. It all
Mr.
adds up.
I'm hoping I didn't freeze, and I'm hoping you. Nope, there he
Am
is.
I back? Yeah.
You're back.
So just keep
So
doing the healing work is my point.
yes, keep
While
doing it.
you're learning the spiritual ability.
Exactly. So let's talk about what you actually do. We've kind of touched on it, but not really gone into deep. So let's start. I'm going to start with your one-on-ones. A
Yeah.
typical one-on-one session with a Ken Lewicki is what?
So there's the biggest thing that I do, like I mentioned earlier, is I have a whole bunch of modalities in the spirituality industry, like tons of certificates and trainings, diplomas, stuff like that. And I decided long ago that if there's the biggest thing that I can give back to my students, what's the biggest thing that I struggled with in my early years? And the biggest thing was channeling. And the reason why I've dedicated and focused 100% of my time and my life to teaching people how to channel is because, in my opinion, learning to channel, mastering channeling is the foundation to all spirituality. When you
Yes.
can just get that down packed and learn to know who you're communicating with, how you're doing it, how to get very detailed, pertinent, practical information, then anything else after that to do with spirituality could come later. Like that will help and enhance and complement anything else to do with you will learn with spirituality. So let's get that foundational part back in place. So yeah, am I a life skills coach? Yes. Am I a Reiki master? Yes. Do I teach Akashic records? Can I train Akashic records? Can I do all these other different modalities, Zen therapy, training, all that stuff? Yes, 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 yes. Again, I could do lots of stuff. But what's going to get the biggest bang for my students? The biggest thing is going to be to teach them how to channel. So that's what we do in the one-on-ones. Is I'm going to go. What's different about so there's things that I can do in a one-on-one with a person that I can't do in a class. And then there's things that I could do in a class where I need the group setting to do the
Yeah.
exercises and activities. Because these classes aren't just like a lecture; they're very interactive. They're experiential. I'm going to actually teach and take the classes through one experience on how to channel this and then channel that, and all the channeling strategies and skill sets and all that. And so I need the group setting to do some of those activities, whereas a one-on-one is very tailored to the person and the individual. Like, and I'm channeling with the person, and I'm figuring out, working with their guides, okay, what is it that they need to help them to hone their abilities, to increase their abilities, to take their abilities, because everybody channels. And I get some people that come to me and they're like, oh yeah, I already channel, I'm good, I don't need that. And I'm like, okay. And I check and I'm like, you do channel, but you channel like this much, but watch after a one-on-one, yeah, like I'll teach you how to channel 1,000 times beyond what you're doing. And then after
Yes.
just one-on-one, you'll be like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. And that's just the beginning, like literally the tip of the iceberg of what I do with my students, especially after level 3, when we get to like the 6-month strategic channeling program and the master channeling mastermind and my animal communication and all that other stuff that I teach after level 3, which is super, super advanced.
Wow, you're just jumping way ahead. Let's go back. I'm going to put the reins on you, pull you back to level 1. He's already talking about animal communication. Everybody's like, animal communication? Huh?
Yes, I teach animal communication as well. Yes, I have intro
So,
classes and certification program.
level 1, somebody who's coming in that hasn't had a one-on-one with you, someone like me, just knows there's something out there, but doesn't really understand what it is or how it affects them.
Yeah.
What advice do you give them before they come into a course?
Biggest thing I suggest to my students, 2 things. One is being open to learning. And I say this because it sounds really obvious, but some people think they know it all. And then it's hard to teach someone who's not teachable. So just pretend like you know nothing. And what if you didn't know nothing and you just came in fresh, like you wanted to learn everything for the first time? The other second thing that I really suggest to people is take actual formal training, like get an actual formal
Yes.
channeling and spiritual training, not just like winging it or, Mickey Mouse this class or the, 1 hour here, 1 hour there. Like these actually come with certification programs. It's an official certification workshop where you will actually get like a certificate at the end of each level. And it's the formal real deal. So it really is. Yeah, Kevin has his certificates. Um, so like coming in, I like with the humility. So I want to make it very clear, like my channeling level 1 workshop, it's for advanced people who've been doing it for 20, 30 years. And it's for brand new people who've never done or know anything about this. It really is. And I challenge the people who've been like, because I get like people literally, they've been doing it for 30 years and they'll tell me after channeling level 1 that they learned more in just one weekend with me than all 30 years combined and all the tens of thousands of dollars they've spent on other people's trainings in just that one weekend. And that's level 1. And I've heard it so many times, dozens and dozens of times. And then I've had the other end of the spectrum where people have known nothing about spirituality. They're just kind of curious. They feel like they hear or feel something around them, but they don't know what it is. And then by the end of level 1, yeah, they're like Kevin, and they're all of a sudden they're so level 1 is all about you. It's all about learning about you. I want to get my students really good at tuning into themselves, tuning into what is their soul, how does their soul, how does it work, what's its function, what's its purpose, why am I here, how do I connect with my soul, how do I know my soul's desires and wants and needs, and getting to know your soul on a very intimate level. And then I even take my students through a past life regression, so that they can tuning into their soul so that they can know, like, because a lot of people, I say to them, like, do you believe in reincarnation? And they're like, yeah, I guess it's a possibility.
Maybe.
Okay, well, let's have you experience it. Yeah. And then once they experience it, they're like, oh my God, yeah, okay, I get it now. And that also helps with future levels. And then I also take them through a past life regression where they've incarnated on another planet, which is super, super cool. And then I teach them how to channel their higher self and get in tune with their higher self and know how their higher self is here to operate and help them on that higher level, and between their soul and their higher self, how to really get their house in order and to figure out like what they're here for and what they're really meant to do with their life, and start to get answers from within themselves. And then near the end of channeling level 1, I get them connecting with their spirit guides. And most people have somewhere between 3 to 5 spirit guides during any one season of their life. Some have 2, some have 6, but in general, it's that 3 to 5 range. And okay, so who are these spirit guides? Let's get to know them. Let's get to know them on an intimate basis. And we start that in level 1 to really start to get to your channeling skills really honed so that we can set you up for level 2.
And it's important to know that it's a 2-day course. He says 8 hours. It's longer. But it goes by like this because it's not like you're sitting with a pen and paper and you're like, oh, I got to take notes. Oh, I got to take. He actually tells you to stop doing that because you need to listen to him, because he'll tell you about something and then you're going to go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that was such a unique way. I mean, going through high school, they never taught us that way. You just sat and took notes. Teacher talked, wrote on the chalkboard. Yes, I'm old. They had chalkboards, green ones, where they actually wrote it with chalk, and you took notes. That's how you learned. The amount I did in level 1, by the time I finished level 1, was so eye-opening. That's a great word. Eye-opening that
Yeah.
I knew that I had to take level 2 right away, which I did.
Your third eye opening. Woo.
Exactly. It was just like,
So for those
woohoo.
of you watching, my slogan is spirituality is meant to be fun. And the reason why I say this is because so many people in the spirituality, again, I've been doing this a long time. So many people in the spirituality industry take this stuff way too serious. So
Way too
you'll
serious.
see me like be goofy, silly, fun. Of course, like we're going to cover and be serious about this stuff, but like let's keep it light. Let's keep it fun. Let's keep it high vibration. Let's ascend and stuff
Even
like
in
that.
his
So
class, we're laughing and giggling through the class because, and I mean, I now, after have taken Ken's level 3 plus his mentorship program, etc., I have my own business where I do readings for people. And I tell people who are kind of nervous, I'm like, don't be nervous. This isn't going to be somber and sad. We're getting messages from the other side. You're getting messages from your guides. This is supposed to be exciting,
yeah.
right?
Thank you for saying
Um,
that.
so they finish level 1. What can they expect when they jump into level 2? How much of a jump are they going from level 1 to level 2?
Yeah. So the cool thing is everything that we cover in level 1 is purposely, strategically developed to set you up for level 2. So when you complete level 1, you're ready to go to level 2. And what we do in level 2, I do a really cool exercise. Right at the very first one is where I actually have you meet your soul family. And it's really beautiful. Like you actually meet your soul family and get to know them. Because why do we have to die or wait till we cross over to meet our soul family? Why don't we do it while we're alive? Like they're there all the time. And so let's get to know your soul family. And another exercise I do is I get you to, a really powerful technique I get you to do is how to operate in this lifetime like you're operating from your guide's perspective. So I get you, and I walk you through it where you'll actually get to know your spirit guides and see how they view things and situations and circumstances in your life so that you can transcend those situations and operate from that higher perspective, instead of again waiting until you die to have that higher perspective. Why not live your life now like you can operate from the astral realm where your spirit guides operate from? So that's the first exercise. Like
That's
that is just life
amazing.
changing right there. It's mind boggling how amazing and
Yes.
powerful that is. And then we get into like super advanced techniques on how to channel your guides at very intimate levels and get to know them super personally, like how they're here to help you, and really figure out which guide is here to help you and what capacity and what areas, and detail, not just generalities. And I work with my students really like, specifically to figure out, because you have to remember I come from an IT background. So when I transition to IT into spirituality, I keep asking myself, how can I make this spiritual stuff very practical, very pragmatic,
Yes.
where you get real world, like actual tangible life difference. And so that's been my focus through all my workshops. It's let's make this practical. And I tell people, I'm like, I say to them, I say, you don't have to like quit your job. You don't have to like, stop being a parent if you're a parent. You don't have to give up, stop being a member of society. No, you do all that stuff while you're spiritual. You are 99% spiritual. You cannot not be spiritual. And so live your life, rock your 3D world plane life, like do all that stuff. And while you're doing that, you're channeling and you're being spiritual.
It's,
Like,
and you said, I believe it was in level 2 where you really stressed the need for balance.
yes.
Without balance, everything goes off kilter, and I talk about it quite often in my sessions now, where you have to be balanced. If you're not balanced, you're out of whack, and when you're
Yeah.
out of whack, you're not doing well,
And
right?
thank you for bringing that up. I'm a big fan of, we really emphasize in the classes about, and even one-on-ones about self-care, self-love, making sure you're taking care of yourself, keeping your tank full. Um, Most of the people that come to me, I don't know if anyone watching this can relate, but they tend to, we're givers, we're helpers. And we sometimes, some of us, me included, I'm guilty for this, is I will overgive to others at the detriment of myself.
Yes.
And so, what would that look like if I was in balance and I was doing self care and self love? And it's not that when I say taking care of your needs first, I'm not saying you neglect all your other responsibilities, but you're learning a different way, a more healthier way with your spirit guides' guidance on what would be a healthy balance of putting your needs first in a good, healthy way.
Awesome. I love that. That's a great way to put it.
And it's so important. Like, who teaches this stuff?
Well, exactly. You're sure in the heck ain't going to learn it when you're in school. That's for sure. Or any college course or university, excuse me, university course that I've seen. Um, I don't want to go into too much what you teach in each level because we could be here for 3 hours. We could spend an hour talking about every level 1,
Yeah.
level 2, and level 3. At the end of level 2, I believe it was, You tell people to go out and do what?
Yeah. So when we get really good at channeling for ourselves, level one, and then partially in level two, I go more in depth on getting answers for yourself and channeling for yourself. And then in the second half of level two, I teach you how to channel for others. So we've all done this. I've all given a message to somebody and they're like, wow, how'd you know that? And you're like, well, I don't know. It just kind of came to me. I'll teach you how you know. I'll teach you how to do it intentionally on purpose. And oftentimes it comes from their spirit guides or it comes from their loved ones, and we will actually practice this in the class. So basically it's giving a reading. That's what it's called, but we've all done it, whether it's formal, like actually getting a pen and piece of paper and you're writing it down, or doing a Zoom call with them, or it's informal. You bump into somebody at a grocery store, you give them a message. Like, we've all given readings before. So what I suggest to my students is that at the very end of level two, it's optional, you don't have to, but I do suggest for practice and for fun, is go out there and give 20 readings, as fast as you can to 20 people, even just 10 or 15-minute readings to people.
Yes. And of course, I did that. Well, I did more. I went out and
Yeah,
I did literally, I think it was somewhere between 50 and 75 readings between level 2 and level 3, just because I knew at that moment, I knew as soon as I started giving readings for people, I think I'm going to say there was 10, maybe 12 of us in level 2. And when I started giving readings for other members of our class, I realized this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this is it. It just clicked. I knew it. And I literally picked up the ball, sports analogy, and ran with it. Not everybody, but that's not for everybody. And I think it's important that we talk about that.
yeah. I have people from all different walks of life that come to my channeling workshops to learn channeling. Some people want to learn it from themselves. Some people want to do it for a living. Some people want to learn it to help their family. Some people want to do it for their career. Some people want to do it just for personal development. Other people want to do it because they're curious and they just
Yeah.
want to know more about it. And they're all welcome. You're all welcome. Every one of you, if you're watching right now and you're in any one of those categories, you're welcome. If you just want to learn how to channel, like, cool, right on. And I tell people, I say, don't make any decisions like right away. Just get through the 3 channeling workshops and then kind of see where you're guided to go from there. The biggest thing is just learn the skills and have fun with it and keep an open mind all the way through and have fun with it. Like, channeling's fun. Like, it really
And
is.
if you never ever give somebody else a reading, it's not for everybody. A lot of people
Yeah,
aren't as outgoing and
yeah,
extroverted as I am. Um, there's a lot of people who, like Ellison, my girl, I hope she's watching, who's shy and probably would never give a reading except for those 10 or 15 that she did after level 2,
yeah.
um, because that's not what she wants to do. And you know
But she,
what? Still take the courses
yeah, and she's
because
still to this day using her channeling skills that she learned in all the like so many areas of her life. It's phenomenal. It's so diverse.
and she is so in tune. Like, there's
So
so many times we'll be walking down the street and she'll say something and I'll just be like, oh my gosh, goosebumps. Like,
yeah, she's
we're in
so
Christina Lake, I won't go into details, but she said something and I had to message Ken. I'm like, holy crap.
yeah,
And Ken's like, yeah, she's connected. So you don't always have to want to start a business or be in the industry, or you could just do it because you want to have that ability to channel
yeah.
grandma, mom,
Do it for
brother,
personal
uncle,
development reasons.
aunt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it just
Um,
because you want to be more in tune and you want to know what's going on behind the scenes, and that's cool too.
yeah. How cool is it to be able to, like, be like Ken said at the very beginning, and you just kind of said it and you glanced over it and you said, I can teach you to be your own psychic. How cool is it that you don't need to go to someone like me or go to someone like Ken to get a reading? You can just do it yourself.
Yeah,
And Ken is frozen again.
it's okay. Keep talking. I hear you.
So I guess he freezes more than we do down here. Oh, there he is. Could you
Keep
hear
talking.
me as I was talking
Yeah, I
there?
could. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Level 3 takes it to a new level, though.
Yeah, level 3 is really, really advanced. So in level 3, I go all out. Like, I teach my students some of the most advanced techniques that I've developed. Medical mediumship is one of the most powerful ones that I've developed, that I teach my students how to like scan people, find the root cause of it. We go through and we practice ancestry readings. We'll actually practice that. I'll teach my students how to do past life readings so they can actually channel past lives for other people. And then super advanced medical mediumship stuff. So very practical. And then after that, we really take a leap ahead, and I'll teach people how to channel like things like stars, moons, planets, how to channel like sprites, fairies. We do psychometry. I teach people how to channel crystals, crystal divas, dragons, and angels, archangels. Really cool advanced stuff. It's tons of fun, and it's playtime. Like it really is. It's just
It's
keeps it light, keeps it fun, and it's enjoyable. Level 3 is really exciting, and it's called the expert level for a reason, because you're channeling at expert skill
yeah.
sets. But you're
With
ready for that. Like that's what level 1's for. Level 1's the first step, sets you up for level 2. Level 2 is the next step, sets you up for level 3, the expert level, and then we go on from there.
now, I remember when I finished level 3, I already had done a whole bunch of readings, and I knew at that point. And I want people to understand, when I first took level 1, my idea wasn't that I was going to become a medium and a channeler. That wasn't what I wanted. Um, it was more. Ken said something, it really kind of resonated with me. He said, I get a lot of people that come in who think, quotation marks, they know it all. I was brought up as a Catholic. I knew all about heaven. I mean, that was all already there. I mean, he was going to learn, he was going to teach me how to turn it off. And honestly, that's what I wanted, because I used to get woken up at night and whatnot. And it was when I said 10 minutes in, I went, oh, crap. This is something I know now why I had to take this course. And then level 2, I knew at level, I think it was about halfway through level 2, I went, I'm going to be doing this for a long time. And here I am, almost 2.5 years later, I guess now. But I came out of level 3, and level 3, I hate this saying because I think it's way overused saying. Level 3 changed my life. Level 3 took everything to a level that I didn't even know existed. When he talks, I laughed. I don't know if you saw me with that. I was giggling when you were mentioning sprites and fairies, and because if someone would have told me 3 years ago, when I was at a pub for a political night, that 3 years from now that I'd be channeling sprites and fairies and archangels, I'd be like, hey, you need another beer. Honestly, I wouldn't have thought it. Then after level 3, you talked about a 6-month mentorship program. And I was like, what the heck is a 6-month mentorship program? Can you explain that a little bit so people understand what it actually is?
So what happens is when we do the channeling level 1, level 2, level 3, it's basically in a group setting, and you're more than welcome to do one-on-ones before, in between the sessions, all that. So what we do in the 6-month strategic channeling program is where I meet with my clients one-on-one over a 6-month period, once a month, every month for 6 months for 1 hour. And the reason why it's after level 3 is because we use level 3 as a platform. Now that you've taken 1, 2, and 3, we use that as a platform to basically slingshot you into your destiny, into your future, into where you really want to go, and really help you to hone those abilities that you've learned over levels 1, 2, and 3, and take them to whole new heights, specific for you and what's going on in your life and what you need in your life specifically. And then when you complete that, you get your master channeling mastermind certificate, because you've basically been trained as like master channeler. And that's what I'll teach you after the 6 months. So it's super personalized and really honing your abilities. And because of that, like I mentioned this way at the beginning of the interview, is that if you take all my channeling workshops, levels 1, levels 2, and levels 3, so 14 hours, 14 hours, 14 hours, you put all that together, it's maybe only 1 to 2% about what I know about channeling. And that's where after level 3, I can focus with my students who completed level 3 and teach them that other 98% of what I know, and really go
Exactly.
into that advanced stuff.
We haven't left a lot of time. I just looked. I like to try to keep it to an hour, and we're at 49 minutes and 30 seconds. I was like, that's got to be wrong. I had to look at my time. It always goes by so quick when you and I talk. Allison's probably laughing because so many times Ken and I will meet on Zoom, and I'll be like, I'm just going to go chat with Ken on Zoom for like 5-10 minutes. That's it. And she'll laugh. She goes, I'll see you in an hour and a half, because Ken and I get talking, and it's this is what we do on a regular basis.
And like you see is what you get. And I do, like, I live, breathe, eat, sleep spirituality. And so I go out for dinner or coffee or, and I talk spirituality with people all the time. I love it. Like, it's who I am, and it's who we all are.
And it's funny because when he says that, he actually means it. Ken used to live here in Airdrie, but then he ran away and lives in Canmore now. Whole different story. But I went to Canmore. The first time I went to Canmore to visit him, we're standing on his back deck overlooking these beautiful mountains. It was gorgeous. And we're going to go for lunch. And I'm like, well, you live out here. Where do you want to go for lunch? And he goes, well, we're going to channel it. And I was like, he had 3 places, and we had to channel where we were going. And sure enough, it was the one place. And it was a perfect place for lunch. But when he says he lives it, he actually really does live it. It's not an act that he puts on when he gets in front of a camera, when he goes on Zoom or when he does a live. Ken lives it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I can attest to that. So having said that, now we only have 9 minutes. See, we always just go off on tangents, Ken. I really want to talk about animal communication, and I don't think we left enough time to even delve into it. But animal communication, what is it?
Yeah, so really, if you break it down, animal communication it's channeling animals. It really is. So it's basically where we psychically tune into an animal, figure out what's going on. I do have intro animal communication workshops. It's a 2-hour workshop. Gives you kind of a taste of what I do. It's a very simplified version, but super cool and life-changing. If you've never done it, I highly recommend it. And what animal communication is basically where you're going to learn how to figure out what's going on with the animal, like the pet, your pet, or anyone's pet. Even if you don't have pets, you can take my training and my workshops and really figure out, like, on a spiritual level, what's going on, and learn how to actually communicate with them. What are their wants? What are their needs? What are their desires? What are their roles? What else is going on that you may have missed? And at advanced levels, so after my channeling levels 1, 2, and 3, you can take my full, like, animal certification workshop, where you become a certified animal communicator, and that's 2 full days of training. And that's where we do really, really, really advanced stuff. I teach you how to channel living pets, deceased pets, other people's pets, deceased and living, exotic pets, or exotic animals, just domesticated animals, non-domesticated animals. And we go through all the different types of animals and the different souls, how you're working in the animal spirit realm compared to, like, the astral realm or different realms, stuff like that. So really, really, really advanced stuff. It's super thorough, super comprehensive. But the biggest thing is it's tons of fun.
Yes.
It's just fun. Like, who doesn't want to learn to communicate with animals? Like, we all do. Like, no matter who you are, even if you don't have a pet, you still want to, like, it could be for, people who just want to see it, like a wildlife animal, in the wilderness, and you want to be able to learn to, or just you go over to a friend's place and you want to learn to communicate with their pet. I'll teach you all that. Like, it's just so much fun.
That is cool.
And then, did you know pets or animals, they actually have spirit guides?
Oh.
So I will teach you how to connect with the pet's spirit guides as well. Because sometimes the animal themselves, the pet themselves, may not know all the information because they don't know always what's going on. So you can ask their spirit guides to elaborate on it and to get more detail, more information, again, making it very practical so you can figure out, like, what's going on with the pet. And sometimes it's just beautiful to increase the connection and the fellowship with the animal rather than just, guessing at what they're trying to communicate to you. You'll actually learn very specifically how to get details and information.
Animal spirit guides. Animals have spirit guides. Are they animal souls?
Yes.
They're always animal souls. It's not like there's 2 different realms. There's the astral realm for us. There's the astral realm for them.
Yeah. So animal spirit guides are animal souls, not human souls. You got it. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's so cool. Like, Oh my goodness, I love it. And really, if you think about it, the the animal communication certification program is basically like channeling level 4. So we go, because we have more time, we can go into more detail, more depth on different topics. Like I'll teach you how to do remote viewing. I'll teach you how to do medical mediumship at way higher levels. I'll teach you all these advanced techniques that we just weren't able to cover in the levels 1, 2, and 3. And I recommend everyone try to get to that stage of level 4.
That is very cool.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Something I'm very passionate about.
He is. I can attest to that. Um, where does Ken go from here? What does Ken do in the next? Where is Ken going to be in 5 years?
Yeah, good question. So I have a bunch of big conferences coming up that I'm doing. I do interviews like this. I'm working on. I've already, like, my website is very automated. So if any of you are interested in taking any of this, go to channelinginc.com, and you don't even have to wait for me or message me. You can just go ahead and book right away. It'll show up. I'll contact you, or you can contact me and say, hey, I just signed up for your workshop, or I booked a one-on-one with you, and then so it's all automated. And what I'm doing is working on increasing that automation, working on doing some online recordings and other material out there, so that I'm more accessible to the world, basically, because I want to fulfill my mission, which is to make this world a better place by teaching people how to channel. And so there's a lot of people out there that they're looking for someone like me. And I'm not one of those people that, like, a long time ago, and I do get a lot of my clients and students who mention this, is they're like, oh, I'm kind of afraid to let people know what I do with spirituality. And a long time ago, I'm like, you know what, screw it. I don't really care what other people think. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to be in the closet, because there's too many people out there that need what I can offer them. And I just keep bringing myself back to those early days in the early 2000s, when I was going through my depression and all that other stuff with, like, spirituality, because I didn't know what was going on and I had no one like me to help me. So there's so many
Yes.
people out there that need me and my services. And that's what I'm doing, focusing on right now, is making myself more accessible. So long term.
Awesome. Awesome. Now I know you and I are doing a evening presentation coming up October 5th,
Yeah.
at here in Airdrie at Genesis Place in the Rotary Room. Um, tell them what you're going to be doing, because I think what you're going to be doing is pretty cool.
Well, first of all, Kevin's going to be starting us off with mediumship. He's going to be actually doing like a night with spirit kind of, basically, where he'll be tuning into people and their spirit guides or their loved ones within the group, which is super cool. So that's going to set us up. I'm super excited. Kevin's super talented at this. I've seen him in action. He actually did it at my Spirit Expo, and it was so amazing.
So
So, and
much
then
fun.
after that, I'm going to be training the group on how to channel. So I'm going to be actually taking you through very specific, detailed exercises on how to connect with your guides, how to know that you're coming from your guides and not from you, and get very practical. Like, let's actually learn to know what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're communicating, and just really increase your channeling and spiritual techniques. So that's what I'll be doing. So excited about it.
And I've seen Ken do this. We had a presentation with a gentleman named Kamel, where we were doing shamanic breathing. And then Ken had a very short period of time to teach people to channel. And there was two people in particular that were like, no, you can't teach me to channel because I just can't do it. And I'm talking, it was 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And he had them channeling their guides. I was blown away. I was like, wow. Ken's going to have 90 minutes to be able to go through the whole process. And it's going to be phenomenal. I'm looking forward to it because I love doing group readings. I didn't realize how much I really enjoyed it until I did it at Ken's expo out in Canmore, where Graham and I took the stage, and it was so much fun. I'm really looking forward to doing that again. So if you haven't got your tickets for that, October 5th, you can go onto my Facebook page or Ken's Facebook page or his channelinginc.com Facebook page, or sorry, webpage, and you can get tickets. There'll be a link there for tickets.
Yeah.
What else is coming up? Anything else that you need to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to say to everyone watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all those who've been following me over the years. I'm in this for the long haul. I've been doing this for a long time. Probably 90% of all my business comes from referrals. So you're doing something right when most of your business comes from referrals. And I want to thank all those people who've been with me 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and keep, we keep working together, and we keep just making this world a better place. And it's just beautiful to. So I want to thank all those people that are watching this. Like, I've been doing this a long time. I'm going to be here for a long time. I'm not going anywhere. And it's all about just bringing light to the world, light worker, whatever you want to call it. Like that's what it's really about. It's about spreading the love, and doing this with humility, kindness, compassion, and passion, because I am very passionate about this. And I
Yes.
truly do believe we can make this world a better place by teaching people how to channel. And so if you're watching this, just go to my website, channelinginc.com, sign up for either one-on-one, an intro class, or straight into the channeling level 1, and buckle up, because if you want spiritual growth, I don't take it slowly. I go like fast, properly, healthy, and it's straight up. It's not just like put your seatbelt on. It's a 5-point harness.
That's it.
Let's get those afterburners on. I don't know about you, but we don't have time to wait for 10, 20, 50 years to figure this stuff out as a species. We need to do this quick and fast and properly, and change this world for the better.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ken. I so appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey. I'm hoping that we had quite a few viewers throughout the whole hour. I'm hoping some people heard something that kind of clicked in their mind, and they're either going to click and go to see a session with you, or if you want to book a session with me, you can go to Kevali Channeling on Facebook. And book a reading. I can connect you with your spirit guides. I can also do mediumship readings with you as well. Stay tuned. Ken has some amazing things coming up. I know he didn't really elaborate on it. We talk all the time, so I know that he has some really, really big stuff coming up, especially for the Calgary area in the near future, far future. Stay tuned. Keep in touch. And thank you for tuning in. I will see you guys all next Monday. I will let you know later in the week who my guest will be next Monday. Talk to you all later. Have fun.